Hello everyone, good afternoon. I hope you are all in a healthy condition, and I hope in Philippines right now you have a normal condition again and can learn peacefully and with healthy condition. Okay, so I'm sorry because today I cannot make a live session, but I will record my explanation first. So I hope you can understand what we will learning about PHP in today topics. So for today, I will explain two topics. Actually, we have 1 week off. So for today, we have two topics, but we are not have many exercise, I think. So I hope you can finish these topics for this week and for last week just in 1 week. I hope you can finish it quickly. So in the week 7, we will learn about PHP. Like I say before, maybe in web programming we have many script or we have many programming language. One of them is PHP. PHP is, for me, this is one of the most important because in PHP we can make many functionality, and of course we can make a dynamic website, not like we have learned before, like JavaScript or HTML and CSS. JavaScript we can make a dynamic, but it's not connected to server. But in PHP, it is connected to server. So function like accessing database can do with PHP. But for today, we still learn the basic about variable, like in other programming language, and about data type, and also about operators. Okay, so uh, what the aim of today meeting? The first is to understand basic concept of web server. Maybe I have explained to you in the first week, but I will repeat it again so you can have more understanding about web server. And the second is the PHP concept, the basic concept, like how to make a variable and what the data type in the variable that we can use, and also about our operator. And the third is how to implementing PHP in dynamic web. So actually, for today, maybe we want to make many dynamic web, but we will learn about how to writing the PHP code in our web page. So before you understand about PHP, you must understand about web server. So what is web server? Usually web server is like a software or computer that will save our file and will process that. So in our web page in web programming, usually web server is when we are uh, we are typing like URL like that, and when this URL is entered by user, it will be sent by browser, and the browser will send it to web server. So web server will search what the file that we request, and then it will give HTTP response to show us or to show the file, showing the file in the web browser. So the first is when we retrieving a web page, the browser send request to the server, which then processed by web server. HTTP request sent to web server. Okay, so HTTP request like the URL that we sent, and Before processing HTTP request, web server also check the security. So maybe sometimes you have browsing, and when you open a page, there notice from the browser like this web page is unsafe, like that. So actually that is processed by web server, and web server will checking it is safe or not. Okay, HTTP request processed with the help of HTTP server. HTTP server is software that is tasked with translating URL. So our URL will be translated, and then the web server will be find what file that we are search, or we are type in the URL. Okay, so this is the web server function. Ensure all required modules are available and ready to use. Okay, and it also clean unused storage cache modules. We will learn about cache also in the several weeks next. And it also can perform security checks, like what I said before, like it will be send message like this is unsafe or not to our web browser. Okay, after we are know about web server, we will talk about PHP. Why? We must know about web server first, because PHP is programming language that will be processed by web server. So when we don't have web server, our PHP file cannot be shown or can be processed. Okay, this is created in actually a long time ago, and 1994. And in every statement or command in PHP and with semicolon like this. So if you lack of or you miss the semicolon, usually our program will be give an error. And it also case sensitive for user identifier name like variable, constant, function. So if we have a small case and uppercase, it will be different. It will be identified different by PHP. But for PHP built-in identifier like function that have been created by PHP, this is it not case sensitive. Okay. So how to make PHP? We can use this. The code should sandwich between, so it will be inside this opening tag and closing tag. So there are many variations that we can use when we are writing the PHP code. The first is like this. This is less than mark and question mark, and the closing is question mark and more than mark, like this. We can also using the second variation like this, using PHP. Usually maybe I will use the second one. Usually the second one is the more general to use. And we can also using like this, like the one that we are used when we are using JavaScript, but it also rare to use. The more general is the second, and we can also using like this. Okay, so this is the example. I will give you example like this. So PHP can we can put PHP inside HTML like the JavaScript, like the CSS, because in website the general structure or the basic is HTML. So we can put PHP inside the HTML like this. So if we want to add PHP, we must give the opening tag like this, and this is the closing tag like this. If you want to add, for example, if you want to add other PHP file, you can also put it like this. So it doesn't has requirement where we put the PHP. Actually, we can put it in the like this in the bottom, or we can also put it in upper like this outside the HTML. We can also put it inside the HTML. If we have many line, for example, we can put it like this until you finish, and then we'll give the closing tag. Okay, so this is the example. Okay, because this is the PHP, so you must save it with the extension .php, although inside it also have HTML. Okay, so if you have PHP and HTML, you must save it in the PHP extension like this. Okay, so for example, if I will run it in HTML, usually we can open like this, not using a local host like this. We can open it in here, but for PHP, usually we can open PHP directly like that. So if we open it without using a local host or without using web server, the PHP file will be shown like this. Like the code, it will show the code, not the process, or not the one will be displayed, but that code. Okay, so don't forget to open your XMPP and start the Apache, because the Apache here will become the web server. Okay, so this is our web server, and to open it via web server, we can doing like this. For example, test.php like this. Okay, so this is the page that will be displayed by PHP file. Okay, so this is the example. How if I have the exact same code, but I save it in HTML. So for this, I have the same code with test.php, but I save it in HTML. If I have something like this, okay, so it will be showing like this. The one that we have in PHP won't be shown. Okay, it won't be shown because it in PHP, and because this just has HTML, so our PHP will be disappear. Okay, so that difference between PHP and HTML. Then this is the example integration PHP and HTML, and next we will learn about variable. Like the another programming language, PHP also have variable to store a value or data or information. And the special is in PHP, for the name of variable, we always using the dollar sign. Okay, we using the dollar sign. So if we have variable without the dollar sign, it won't be detect as variable. Okay, this is the example like this. So this is in here, I have variable name hello, and the variable is have value. This is the value. Okay, like this. it case sensitive. So if I have this, and for example I have like this, it detect as different variable, because this is in small case and this is in uppercase. So this is case sensitive, and it doesn't need to be declared. So we don't need to declare first. We can declare and fill the value in one line. And then this is cannot contain space. So for example, you have a variable that have two words like this. For example, it can work because it has space. So if you want to have a variable that has two words, you can add maybe like this underscore to detect it as variable. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is another example. This is different between VAR with a small v and with the uppercase V. And this is wrong because we can start the variable with number. The variable must start with letter. Okay. So this is the example. And we can also show or print the variable using echo. So echo is the function from PHP. This is one of the most usable function to display the value of the variable. So for example, this is variable like this. Oh, I'm sorry. This is in PHP, right? Okay, it will be show like this. Okay, if we want to show this one, you can give the uppercase this. Okay, this will be showing because the one in the it line and non-line is the different variable. And we can also using print to print or to show the value of the variable. The different is when we are using echo, usually we can show many variable or we can display many variable in one line. But when we are using print, the print can be display just one variable. Okay. So this is the example. Actually, this won't be any difference when we are using echo and print. And we also have constant. So what is constant? Constant is like variable, but when we have constant, usually the value of the constant won't be change in our code program. So when we don't want to change the value, we can using constant like this. So this is the example. Different with variable. In variable, we must add the dollar sign, but in constant, we must define like this. So we are using define, and then this the name of the constant, and this is the value of the constant. And when we add the true value here, this can this can process the different right here. This is with small case and this is uppercase, but we have when we give true here, this and this will be detect as the same constant. Okay, so this is the example. Actually, for today, it's not that hard. It's actually easy. And then I will talk about the type, like another programming language. PHP also have many data type that we can use, but we don't need to declare the data type when we make a variable. So like you see here, we have many variable. We don't need to like add the data type like integer or maybe string like this. We don't need to do this because PHP can detect the data type uh, by knowing the value of that variable. So this is the example. We have four variables. The first variable is in string, and the second is integer, and the third have point like this. Of course, this decimal, or maybe it can detect as float. And we also have null. So null is if like empty. We don't have any value here. So to show the value of the variable and the data type, we can using var dump. This also the function that provided by PHP. Okay, we will try this like this. So you can see here, this is detect as string, and the second will detect as integer, float, because null is empty, or of course it doesn't have data type. Okay, we can also using like this array in data type. And then the next part is about operator. Okay, operator. Operator is we have many operator, many type of operator in PHP. The first one is arithmetic. When you talk about arithmetic, of course it will be used to add or multiply. So this is like the mathematics or something like that. Okay, this is the example. You can add the variable like this. It will be shown, and you can also doing something like this to show the value of the variable. So inside this echo and the string, we can also showing the value of the variable. It's also easy. We just need to add two variables, or we are using minus sign or star sign to multiply, and this is for division, and we can also using for modulo. Okay, and we also have assignment like this. Actually assignment we have tried it before like this. Assignment is to put the value to a variable. So to give variable a value, we can using assignment with equal sign. And we can also have doing logic or bitwise, logic or bitwise like this. Okay, and we can also using ratio to check, for example, if variable a equal with b, or variable a less than that b, and when we give or print the value, the var dump, it will be showing true or false. So this is the example. This is the example like this. Okay, this is the ratio, and we can also using logic. Maybe I want explain about bitwise, because bitwise is used for binary value, like just 0 and 1. Maybe you have learned it in the first semester, so I won't say much about this. And logic, and we can also using string operator to merge some um, text. So for example, maybe here we have like this text like this. This is text because it's inside this sign, quotation sign, and this is the string operator just in dot to add this string, this text with the value of this. I also can doing something like this. For example, like this. Okay, so I will try it. I think it will be error here. Oh no, it doesn't have any error actually. You can add something like this, space to open it. Okay, like this. Okay, so this is the example of merger for combine many string, and we can also add comments. For example, don't want to show this line, so I will add it into comment like this. So if we add the comment like this, it will be disappear from our code. Okay, so that's all for our meeting, for 7 meeting. Okay, thank you, and let's meet again in the 8th topic for learning about looping and branching. Goodbye.